Sir Keir Starmer, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
You must be utterly exhausted and ill on your knees, but much grueling.
The other one was, but this one is definitely fiction. And he's sold the rights to the Universal TV, and I'm told it's going to be similar to The Crown.
Well, this must be a very jolly day for you. A very jolly day indeed.
Well, it's a remarkable insurgency that Reform UK has managed.
What happens when a new Prime Minister challenges the King's constitutional role just months into his reign? We're witnessing it unfold right now, as Keir Starmer's attempt to sideline royal influence has reportedly left King Charles furious. The repercussions are already reshaping British politics. Reform UK has skyrocketed from 6% to 16% in polls, while 1/3 of citizens believe Starmer won't survive a year in office. This isn't just palace gossip, it's a constitutional crisis with consequences that could rewrite Britain's political landscape. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Since taking office, Keir Starmer has embarked on what many insiders describe as an unprecedented power play against the British monarchy. While prime ministers have historically maintained a delicate dance with the crown, Starmer has aggressively pushed the boundaries of this relationship further than any leader in modern British history. This isn't merely about personality clashes or political posturing. It's about fundamentally reshaping the constitutional fabric of the United Kingdom.
Now, what it is, it's about a press officer who brought in to make a fresh life.
Let's return to the breaking news. Elon Musk said this on social media on X. The Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it...
Musk's opinion has dynamited British politics more than once, in that he's able to engage in front of millions of people and to force a response from government ministers.
A new bombshell poll out in the Mail on Sunday today shows 1/3 of Brits think Keir Starmer will be toppled within a year, within the next 12 months, while 2/3, they say he's doing badly just 6 months into the job.
What's happening? What's going on?
Well, one of the things I thought was very interesting is that Omid Scobie's written another book. It's fiction.
What exactly has Starmer done to provoke such tension? Sources close to Buckingham Palace reveal that the Prime Minister has systematically sidelined royal consultation on matters where monarchs have traditionally been briefed and involved. This calculated approach represents more than casual oversight. It appears to be a deliberate strategy to diminish the Crown's role in governance. The constitutional powder keg began quietly smouldering when Starmer's government implemented policies that bypassed traditional royal consultation processes. These weren't minor administrative matters, but key national affairs where the monarchy has historically played an advisory role.
And you're just spoilers. You're going to split the right-wing vote. You're going to take the Tories out, but you won't get a single seat. And of course, Reform UK got 5 seats in that election. We got 14% of the vote. And
do you think, out of interest, though, that you did split the right vote and that you have helped Labour to maybe a bigger majority than they would have anticipated?
By circumventing these established channels, Starmer has effectively been eroding the constitutional customs that have governed British politics for generations. Westminster insiders paint a concerning picture of the King's reaction. According to confidential reports, King Charles is deeply disturbed by Starmer's approach, viewing these actions not simply as personal slights, but as direct assaults on Britain's carefully balanced constitutional system. This isn't a monarch merely protecting his privileges. It's a head of state concerned about the fundamental principles that underpin British governance. When we examine the historical context, The gravity of this situation becomes even clearer. Throughout Britain's modern democratic era, prime ministers from Winston Churchill to Boris Johnson maintained certain protocols regarding royal consultation and involvement, even during periods of significant political change.
And I believe in that statement he has made, God Almighty, he's made a lot of mistakes, but I think that statement was the mistake of his political life. To slur anyone in this country who thinks that justice for those victims should be obtained through a public inquiry, to say they're far right. We've been talking about Reform UK. Let's quickly dwell on our dreadful Prime Minister. What do you make of his, in my view, outrageous assertion that if you, me, anybody in Britain feels that there should be a new inquiry into the grooming gang scandal?
This delicate constitutional balance remained largely intact. What makes Starmer's approach so remarkable is its departure from this established tradition. He appears willing to challenge the monarchy's symbolic role in governance in ways his predecessors never attempted. The British public has not missed this constitutional chess match. Recent polling shows widespread disapproval of Starmer's approach to royal relations. Perhaps most telling is the revelation that 1/3 of Britons believe Starmer will be toppled within a year, a staggering vote of no confidence for a recently elected Prime Minister. This suggests the public's attachment to constitutional traditions runs deeper than many political analysts predicted. What makes this situation particularly explosive is the possibility that King Charles might break with tradition himself. Sources suggest the monarch, who has maintained the expected political neutrality since ascending the throne, is considering speaking out against Starmer's constitutional overreach, an unprecedented step that would throw British politics into uncharted territory. The mere possibility of such royal intervention has sent shockwaves through political circles. Many observers wonder what recourse the king actually has in this situation. Despite decades of constitutional evolution that has seen the monarchy's power diminish, the crown retains significant constitutional tools. Chief among these is the royal prerogative, the monarch's right to be consulted, to encourage, and to warn the government. This isn't merely ceremonial, it represents a genuine constitutional check that can be exercised in moments of serious concern. Should King Charles decide to fully employ these powers, Starmer could find himself in an extraordinarily difficult position. The weekly audiences between monarch and prime minister, typically private affairs, could become venues for serious constitutional pushback. While the king cannot directly veto legislation, his ability to publicly express concern would severely undermine Starmer's authority and potentially accelerate the erosion of public confidence in his leadership. This constitutional standoff has created an unexpected political opportunity. Reform UK has seized the moment to position itself as defenders of British tradition and constitutional norms. By championing the role of the monarchy within Britain's system of government, they've tapped into public unease about Starmer's approach. Their rising poll numbers suggest this strategy is resonating with voters who feel the Prime Minister has overstepped important boundaries. This constitutional standoff between Downing Street and Buckingham Palace isn't merely a clash of personalities, it's fundamentally reshaping Britain's political landscape. Constitutional experts are increasingly vocal about the long-term implications, suggesting this tension could permanently alter the relationship between the Crown and government in ways not seen for generations. The monarchy's historical role as a stabilizing force during political upheaval shouldn't be underestimated. While many have dismissed the royal family as purely ceremonial, this crisis reveals their enduring relevance. With Reform UK's polling numbers surging as Starmer stumbles, King Charles emerges as a potential constitutional anchor in these turbulent waters. What we're witnessing transcends ordinary politics. The question isn't simply who will prevail in this power struggle, but rather what Britain's constitutional framework will look like for decades to come. As experts have noted, Charles may yet prove to be the stabilizing figure Britain desperately needs amid the political chaos, potentially determining whether Starmer's government stands or falls under mounting public discontent.